Guys, I'm back with my economics videos. This one is not very much on hardcore economic theory or anything. I just want to talk generally about what the UK imports, exports, who does it do this with, and how in general has the world changed due to international trade. Now let's look at some of the things that the UK exports. So one of the biggest fields that the UK exports is pharmaceuticals. Now we know this because whenever you watch any documentary like Horizon or Panorama and you always see them talking about pharmaceuticals, you see Britain is leading the way. They are in the heart of, they're the forefront of innovation. You have big companies like GlaxoSmithKline here and other ones where pharmaceuticals is a big industry in the UK. You may be surprised that we also export cars and petroleum, but again, it's all very high-tech stuff like aircraft and associated equipment, telecommunication equipment, and steel. You may not be surprised to know though we do export three main services, so financial services, legal services, and tourism. London is actually a world city, so people are attracted to it. Not only has it got an amazing nightlife, it has a lot of historic and historical heritage which it's kept, and it's got like two of the world's greatest universities, Oxford and Cambridge, which are like sort of drowned in history, and people want to go there, they want to see it, they want to take pictures. So that's one of the big things that we export. What do we import? Well, essentially we import manufactured goods from China, cheap ones. That's the main thing that we import. But other things we import like natural gas, you may be surprised to know. I didn't know this. We import natural gas. Again, you have things like from China, as we talked to before, like clothing, furniture, paper, toys, sporting goods, baby carriages, vases, anything like that. Those are the kinds of things that we import. And we also import different minerals, different types of stones, semi-precious, or all those different types, and furniture, so the wood that makes these individual unique statues, pieces of artwork, we import from places like India. Alcohol beverages, a lot of them we import because it's so much more cheaper. Coal, silver, these are the kinds of things that we import. But the biggest factor of things we import are things that you would find in the retail high street. That's what we import. So now I want to have a look at who are our trading partners. Now I want to look at the top 5. Now what you'll find is that bar USA and China, we mainly import and export with our EU partners. So who do we export to? Well, firstly, we export to the USA, which is surprising because actually the USA shouldn't really be importing too much from us because of the exchange rate. It should be the other way around. But there you go. This is what we do, and that might be because the language is the same. So we do export a lot of services to them. Not just music, but legal services and financial services. Yeah, so those are the kind of things. Then after that we export partners. After the USA, the next 4 people who we export to are all in the EU. So Germany, France, Netherlands, and Ireland. This is because there's no trade barriers because of the EU. Also transport costs, because we're geographically quite close, is going to be low. So these are factors why we might export to them rather than other places like India, for argument's sake. Now our import partners. So the first person we import from is, interestingly enough, not China. It's Germany. Germany's in the EU. There's low trade barriers. We're quite close together countries, so shipping costs and all that's quite low. That's one of the reasons why we import from there. Secondly, we import from the USA. Well, we benefit from exchange rate. Usually there was a time when £1 bought $2. Well, usually it's around there. So that means that if we convert £50, we get $100, and we can buy a lot more there because things are cheaper there. Then you have China, obviously cheaper imports. So except for USA and China, which we benefit USA because of exchange rate, and China just because things are so cheap. The rest again is the EU, because you have fourth Netherlands, and then you have France. By the way, all this is written on my blog, so it's a transcript written on my blog, so you can have a look at it if I'm going too fast for you. So the annual value of trade in the world, which is trade in goods 80% and trade in services 20%, now exceeds $12 trillion. Now that is a number which I can't even imagine, so I don't even know how to react to it. But it's good trade, I guess, because we have more consumer welfare from lower costs, more choice, better quality of living, and you basically maintain you end up having to maintain healthy political relationship with these countries, because if you don't maintain it, your trade suffers and your country suffers. That's the point, that we will suffer if we don't. So that's another thing. That's why after the World War, this was free trade idea was introduced, and it was really enforced among countries. Now I just want to have three quick things which I want to say about the world trade. The first is that the UK trades with this trading bloc. 60% of trade is done within the EU. Countries are now trading within the trading bloc. Why? Because there's low trade barriers, things are cheaper. And that's called trade creation. We are also having trade diversion created. That means where we are stopping to trade with people who are originally in our empire, like, I don't know, South Africa, Australia, India. These were all part of the British Empire, and we stopped trading. I don't know about South Africa. Sorry. Anyway, we stopped trading with them as much as we used to do. Why? Because we now have trade barriers, and now we are competing on a level, the UK versus Australia, as opposed to all of the British Empire versus the other empires of the world. They're sort of fighting the Spanish Empire, fighting like that. It's not happening. Competition is now done on an individual basis. It's probably better because prices are lower as competition has increased. And China has revolutionized the world trade, and I'm not going to say too much because it's basically obvious, but China and its low-cost manufactured goods have changed the world. They have encouraged developed nations to take advantage, and they have done this through several mechanisms, manipulating exchange rates, essentially funding the US government to import from China. So this is all I wanted to say as my first video, and thank you for supporting me, and please visit my blog.